Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, we have a great interview with Ben Kirby from Preachers and Sneakers. So after the intro, you're going to hear that interview, and then we'll be back to talk about it. It was a great interview, and it was a Zoom interview.
Awesome.
There's a little bit of a lag because of internet weather, but I think you'll appreciate the interview.
The weather has been really bad on the internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
Thanks, Bill Gates.
Thanks, Al Gore.
At home tonight? I hadn't planned on it, no. Plan on it.
Minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery.
You're gonna die.
I'm Raymond Arroyo. We'll see you next time.
All right. Hi, everyone. We are here with Ben from Preachers and Sneakers.
Woo! Woo!
Thank you, Ben, for being on the show here. And thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Yeah, this is fun. Appreciate it, y'all.
So, Ben, for people who don't know, maybe just, I mean, a lot of people know. So just give like a quick rundown. You started a social media account. You started an Instagram account a while back, and it kind of took off. But maybe just give a quick rundown of your Instagram account.
Yeah, 2 years ago, I was sitting on my couch after. So y'all are from the Dallas area, so you know Deep Ellum, right?
Mhm.
Y'all been to Deep Ellum before?
Yeah.
So during my MBA program, I was DJing there, moonlighting, and I played at this place every other weekend or so that no one would ever come to. That I would DJ for like 5 hours until like 3 o'clock in the morning. One night, I had DJed well until like 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. So the next day, I slept through church. And for whatever reason that day, I had decided to sit on my couch and watch YouTube worship videos, which I had never done previously in lieu of going to church. And I looked up this song that I liked, and I saw the music video, and the guy leading worship for the video was wearing a pair of Yeezy 750s. And for whatever reason that morning, I was like, that feels a little weird. These shoes are reselling for like $800, and this guy's a worship leader. I don't know why that makes me feel a certain type of way, but I felt compelled to make a video on my Instagram, and then on the other side of YouTube, they serve up all these other videos of kind of similar type guys and girls, and I realized, oh, there's all these pastors and worship leaders wearing like the most sought after kicks in the sneaker world, and so I made a few videos and just saying like, hey, these sneakers are worth $800 or $1,000? That seems a little weird to me. I mean, that's paraphrasing, but I was a little snarkier back then. And 9 days later, I created the account after somebody encouraged me to, a close friend encouraged me to just do an account doing just that. And I copied those videos over from my personal Instagram. And then in a month, I had 100,000 followers, and people on all sides getting real angry about religion and wealth and church and all that kind of stuff. And somehow 2 years later, I am still here. My wife and my parents are super proud of the life I've chosen to live.
What I love about it, well, at least when I came aware of the Instagram account, was you were kind of like, you weren't explicit about your commentary. It was just, here's a picture, here's the shoe, here's the price.
Interesting.
And then you would do this kind of middle of the road snarky copy where you weren't really sure what your stance on it was. And then it was almost like a Rorschach test. Like, people would kind of read into it. Some people are like, oh, those are dope shoes. And some people are like, this is Satan incarnate.
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst thing in the world.
Yes.
Was that an intentional?
That's exactly right. And
how'd you navigate that?
sorry, I interrupted you. It's the delay. My bad.
There's
My
a lag.
bad.
There's a lag. It's
You're
fine.
totally fine.
The internet sucks, but the devil's trying to stop us. What? But like, talk
That's
to me
right.
about that.
But he won't.
No.
He won't.
Not today.
Jesus is praying for us.
Get behind me.
So like, talk to me about that. Was that an intentional decision, or like, how did you navigate that?
Yeah, I didn't, when I started making these videos, and eventually what made the account popular was I would screenshot or repost a pastor's photo that they had posted themselves, and then just juxtapose the price of the sneaker or what it was worth or how much it cost. And those two things in one picture just made people lose their minds, because for a long time, no one had to contend with the idea that their pastor was wearing $1,500 shoes, or the idea that they could potentially afford that kind of thing, or afford to not sell shoes worth that much. And so, yeah, the copy thing I fell into, like, I'm a writer now, but at the time I was an idiot. I'm still an idiot. But for whatever reason, I was able to find this middle ground where I could write funny quips and let the pictures do all the talking. Because at the same time, I didn't want to alienate one side or the other, because I would have just come out, I mean, like, I would have sounded like a jackass if I was like, this is always wrong, no matter what. Like, I am so anointed and inspired that I know every single nuanced situation that this is always wrong. And plenty of people came to say that kind of stuff in my comments, but me being in the middle, I was like, dude, this is causing people to lose their minds. I want to lean into that, but also I'm still trying to figure out all this stuff myself. So that's why I kind of kept the commentary kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Is it true that then some pastors started posting pictures of themselves, like, from the ankle up? And you were like, he's not getting my shoes. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I'll go for your jacket. Yeah. Like, that jacket's from Louis Vuitton, $8,500.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't explicitly say that, but there was a distinct shift. The guys that maybe were a little more insecure about ending up on the account, but a lot of them can't help themselves but wear their designer stuff. And so they would rather try to like either not address or not acknowledge that the account exists, or a lot of them, you do get to see a lot of insecurities at play, because people, for whatever reason, have a ton of designer items, and people even raising an eyebrow to it makes them feel it makes them angry in a lot of ways. So it was it's still an interesting look into culture, Christian culture.
Do you think at a deeper level, when something really catches like that, I mean, I've followed Instagram accounts where they catch, and often it's because it's acknowledging something that a lot of people deep down felt, or like you're acknowledging something where it's like, oh, we can talk about this, or and I'm sure, like, it's not like you're the first person to ever think of this. You kind of gave a voice to it. Like, what do you think deeper is going on that caused people to really like catch on to this account?
Yeah.
I heard from thousands of people that said that exact thing. Basically, hey, me and my community had talked about this, but we never knew how to address it, or the way that you displayed this made it more tangible, or like a thing to point at to say, this is it. Like, this is what I've had beef with. And then the subject matter itself brings all these different groups of people. So like, there's a whole atheist set of followers that are like, this is why I hate religion, this very thing. And then there's people that are maybe like deconstructing, or ex-evangelicals that are like, this is why I left, standard evangelical Christianity. And then there's also a subset of people that are still in evangelical Christianity that are like, this is a problem. Like, we care too much about this kind of stuff. And then there's another set of people that are fans of these guys that either want to defend them to me, or just be like, oh yeah, he's got so much drip, it's crazy, he brought a word last weekend, you should listen to his message, that kind of stuff. So it appealed to a lot of different types of people, and that was by no design of my own. It just ended up like a lot of it was luck, and but I was happy to be able to maybe create something tangible for people to point to and start discussing.
Now, you were anonymous for a long time and then decided to come out as Ben.
You are
come out as
Ben.
Preachers and Sneakers.
Preachers and Sneakers.
But what
Ben
I'm the most curious about, what has been the most difficult or challenging part of running this account? Like, what's been like the most brutal, like, worst part, or has there been a worst part of this?
Yeah. I like that question. Not many people have asked that throughout this whole process, so I appreciate it.
We're high-fiving.
It's a couple things. Like, one, I appreciate y'all making me think. And I usually do this in therapy, so it's nice to do this for free for once.
Some people come to therapy.
What's the youngest you ever remember feeling this way?
Right. Yeah. I'm a people pleaser type guy. surprisingly enough, I don't like upsetting people. I don't really care to stir the pot for any reason. This 2 years in, I feel like a responsibility kind of to do it now. But the toughest part was, like, I'm still a Christian. I still go to church. My wife worked at a mega church basically the entire time we did this. And the toughest part was hearing from Christians that basically said, you know, I was being divisive, or that I was causing people to leave the faith, or I was the reason people hated Christianity, or I was going to have to account for the souls of people that left the faith because of me showing the price tag of sneakers, that kind of thing. Like, I care about that feedback. That doesn't feel great to hear that. And then, so like that's pretty exhausting and doesn't feel great ever. And then also the whole conversation is just exhausting in and of itself. There's no real concrete answers. It's worth discussing, but it's also not like, if I had the answers, I would tell everybody. And so being kind of seen as one of the guys that's talking about this kind of thing or leading the discussion, it's exhausting just because you want to be able to help somebody that has these kind of questions. And that takes work, it takes study, it takes research. And I'm just like so unequipped. Like, I'm a military guy. I worked in the business world for a couple of years. I've just got no credibility for this kind of thing. But I think that might be the attraction to some people, is that I'm not speaking Christianese a lot of times, or I'm not, like, I'll cuss a little bit every once in a while. Like, so I've tried to cope with, you know, the position that I'm in, but yeah, so just, it's a very negative thing. It causes people to really, like, truly deep down their colors to come out and be really mean. And, you know, that never feels good. So
how do you navigate? It reminds me of, there was an interview where Jon Stewart from The Daily Show was in an interview with two, like, serious news reporters, and they were saying, you have a responsibility to portray the whole story and everything. And Jon Stewart's perspective was like, we come on before, like, puppets making prank calls. Like we don't have a responsibility. We're just doing satire. Like, this is just, it's just the point of the Joker or the court jester is to point out that the emperor doesn't have clothes, like to say the thing that no one will say, and to not care too much about the responsibility of that, just to say it. And, like, from your perspective, what would you say to people that struggle with that? Because I hear this a lot and I struggle with this. Like, what is my quote unquote responsibility for my platform, or people understanding what I'm saying or understanding what my take is? And then what is, like, hey, I'm putting it out there, like Bob Dylan, like, the song, it means whatever you think it, like, what I'm not going to tell you what the song means. That's on you. That's your responsibility. I just said it, you know, like, what, I don't know. Do you have, like, something that you would say to someone struggling with that, or some new way of thinking about that? I'm trailing off on this question. I had a really good question earlier. Man, I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like what's your, like, new take on it now?
Yeah, early on, when there's hundreds of thousands of people following and media agencies asking me all these questions about my agenda and everything, and then people getting pissed about me starting this platform and people being mean to each other in the comments, for a long time, I was like, I do have a responsibility for this. I'm going to delete every single negative comment, and I'm going to try to apologize to people. And I feel so bad, and I'm going to try to tell them to not harass other people. When in fact, it's like, I have as much responsibility for other randos on the internet's actions as Fox News does for their comments section. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, it's hilarious, the rules that people define for the account of which you created. Like, people will message me all the time saying, you know, you started this account to shame pastors, bloody blah. It's like, I did? You know the rule. Like, you're not supposed to, like, I posted about Tim Tebow one time and people lost their minds because he's not a preacher, even though he's kind of a preacher. And people messaged me like I had violated the terms of which I had promised them I would put content out. It's like, dude, I'm going to post whatever the heck I want to post when I want to post it. I owe nothing to you. Now, granted, I get why people want, like, they want me to care about people not being terrible to each other in the comment section. And I had a media manager for the first year or so that would go in there and delete the outright hateful stuff. Cause like, I don't want to be a part of that, but also it's first, like I have 260,000 followers now. It is impossible for me to filter out all of the insane trolls on the internet. And so eventually I had to be like, look, people are going to be terrible. I'm not terrible to anybody on the internet. Like, sure, I will make jokes in a way to point out something that seems inconsistent. But if you attribute the comment section to who I am as a person, then yeah, sure, you're going to think I'm an a-hole, but I'm not. And a lot of people are just not willing to distinguish those two things, or like even think about it for a second.
Do you guys have a question?
Yeah. Do you have, I want to know a little bit more about the inner workings here in Dallas, I guess, with these pastors. So do you have relationships with any of the people that you're posting? And have you had in-person conversations where someone's like, bro, you posted me on your page. Like, I thought we were friends. Come on.
It is funny how people will laugh at the account or your content until you post about their guy. And then they'll be very quick to say, you used to be funny. This used to be an important conversation, but now you've gone too far. I mean, people will literally do that. And I do have relationships with several, like the guy, Mac Brock, who's a worship leader, that he was the guy that was wearing the Yeezys that I initially saw at the very beginning. Him and I are friends. I mean, I don't think that he loved people overnight being like, screw you, man, for wearing Yeezys. But him and I have hung out several times, both times it being in Dallas. And before all the stuff with Carl Lentz, him and I had a relationship. We talked on the phone several times, and I've messaged with several other of the guys that maybe weren't as happy. Some of the wives have messaged me. Some of the parents of the guys have messaged me.
Oh, wow.
So it gets real weird real quick. Like there's one time where the guy's dad messaged me basically calling me shallow. And then the guy's brother messaged me thanking me for starting the account. I was like, dude, y'all gotta clear out your family stuff. Don't be doing this through me, bro. Y'all need to do this amongst each other, bro. So like you get to see this weird like sliver of humanity.
Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Yeah. So I have relationships with some of them. They're not really like eager to dap it up with me and get some beers, but so like I had with the audiobook that I just put out at the end, there's an interview with Judah Smith, who's Justin Bieber's main guy. And him and I had a really good conversation, and we will text every once in a while, but I get why they're not really trying to invite me to Thanksgiving, but also the ones that are secure understand what I do. And I think understand the conversation and understand that I'm not just some troll.
Has anyone taken legal action?
Yeah. Who sued you?
In as much as you can say.
Yeah. Do you have any libel or slander suits pending?
I was fearful of that at first because people were talking real strong. Like people were getting real angry at the very beginning.
Warriors.
There was one photographer. Yeah. I mean, people call me that all the time too, so I get it, whatever. There was one guy at Life Church, which is Craig Groeschel's church, that basically sent me a pseudo cease and desist because I used one of his photos from their Instagram. And I was like, all right, I'll just use these hours and hours of other content that I have, like, so be it. But I mean, social media it's kind of I'm not a lawyer, but I think it's called like fair use or something. Basically, if you put it online, the people that reuse your content are usually pretty protected because you're basically choosing to put it in a public platform. So nobody's sued me or anything. People have talked big, but they can come at me. Like I can afford attorneys too, bro.
Yeah.
Have you had anyone have like maybe like a change of heart, or like have you had any like really positive, like someone that you put on blast
reckoning,
and then maybe like a shift or a change that was really positive?
Yeah, I mean, I'll continue to say, like, I never saw myself as putting people on blast. Like, people have already put their own pictures out in the public. They've put themselves on blast.
Mm-hmm.
People will quickly characterize what I do as putting them on blast. Like now that I have a big platform, yes, when I put a picture up, it goes to a lot of people. So it is at least more public than maybe they were intending it to be. But a lot of these guys have millions of followers. So like my platform shouldn't be that big of a deal to them. But over the past 2 years, I do this less and less now because it just sucks up so much time to have these conversations over DMs or email or on the phone or whatever. But yeah, I've had plenty. I mean, even Judah Smith, who's one of the biggest kind of Instagram pastor dudes in the world, told me that he gave away all of his Gucci because he didn't want the message that he was giving to be a distraction. Or he didn't want his clothes to be a distraction from the message that he was saying, which I respected a ton because this dude is gifted a lot of nice stuff. He's got a lot of high profile friends. And then other, like, especially kind of the maybe B and C level pastors message me all the time saying, you know, this account has helped me, or how do you say it? Encouraged me to reconsider what I wear before I get on stage. Just like, even just giving it a second thought, because for a lot of people, they were just like, oh, I'm going to look hip. I'm going to wear whatever I want. I had no idea people cared about what I wore or the message that it sent. And so now I think a lot more guys and girls are aware of that, which feels fulfilling to me. Sure, like it was kind of messy and people's feelings got hurt. But if I can get people to like genuinely consider others, like how to serve others in their community by what they dress or how they present themselves, then I think that's a win long term.
Yeah, so we're all Catholics. We're all practicing Catholics. And so it's just interesting of like reckoning of like what's going on in the Catholic world and like things. And I mean, I'm just seeing you see so many people, Protestants, Catholics, leaving the faith, leaving the church, and it could just be because of one person or something that happens, one thing. So I think it's like bringing to light, like what you said, speaking to light of like, hey, this is something that's going on and I'm just going to put it out there and see. And I know in the Catholic world, like things that are going on in our church, and we're seeing like, hey, this is what's going on. And like putting words to it, I think, and having a conversation with it and kind of having a reckoning with what's going on. And so it's like, I can just see it across all spiritual, like faith levels of like, let's bring to light things that have been hidden or that have just kind of slid by or just kind of been growing silently. Let's put a light to it and bring it to light, and let's have like a conversation about it and see, and hopefully people will have like recognition of maybe I do need to change.
The internet just kind of really exposes a lot of people and a lot
for a good thing,
for good and bad.
Right.
What's been done in the dark will be made known in the light.
Come on, baby.
Did you read that in the
and it's all it seems incremental. It seems incremental where like none of these things at a micro level seem to matter that much, but when you look, especially, I think we're probably all the same age. Our generation has kind of lived through the kind of 90s CD smashing of Christianity. I didn't grow up Catholic, so I if I'm off base,
we did
just let me know.
But
we did. Yeah.
Now I didn't know I cared about this, about kind of bringing stuff into the light for us to discuss, because a lot of people just don't even want to give it the energy to think about it. It's like, well, it's kind of an imperfect, messy thing. There's no real great answer. So, let's just not address it. I'm like, well, dude, now we're looking at all these big systems of church and how we do things that are just accepted as status quo, when in fact, like there's probably better ways to do it and better ways to spend our money. And money specifically in Christian culture is always so taboo. And for that very reason, now it causes all this different emotion when it really shouldn't. And so I think, at least with the account, with the book, it's causing people to realize like, hey, it's okay to talk about this, or at least ask questions about this, because the global response and how angry people got is validation that this is a thing that has gone unaddressed for far too long.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Is it mostly so because we call our podcast the most semi-Catholic podcast in the world, just because we don't always talk about Christian things. We're on the fringes, we cuss on this podcast. I've been known to drop an F-bomb or two.
Yeah.
So
nice.
But we're all familiar with this like prosperity gospel the Joel Osteen situation of like name it and claim it, and all of this stuff. So are most of these pastors, do you think, gifted? You talked about being gifted Gucci and all this stuff. Are they gifted a lot of these designer items, or are they actually making enough money to spend a lot of money on clothing?
The bona fide prosperity dudes, I'm pretty confident are just buying it because they're making so much freaking money off of a BS presentation that's going to send people to hell, if you believe in that kind of thing. The hipper guys, like the fresher looking guys, they're more of a like kinder self-help motivational speaker type gospel. Those are the guys that are in with the pro golfers and NFL players and superstars. They get gifted a lot of stuff. I mean, specifically Bieber's guys. I mean, Bieber has unlimited money, and he's very on fire about his faith right now. So he hooks these guys up with whatever they want, to the point where they're like not asking for it, but he's like giving it to them. So those two things are a big piece. There's guys like Stephen Furtick, who's the supreme designer don of evangelical preaching. He is probably gifted things and can also afford a new designer outfit every single weekend. So it's a mix of all three.
How has this kind of impacted your relationship with Jesus and your relationship with money? If you could just talk maybe a little bit about that, like how has that impacted your own perspective?
Yeah, the money thing, talking about therapy again, I'm realizing or learning that I always have had my own issues with money and wealth and wanting to make more of it and feeling like other people have more and I wish I had more. And there was some element of, or like I'm weird about like donating to a thing and then seeing the person that's the recipient of that donation living better than I get to live. Now, part of that is the sinner in me. Like I should not have some irrational expectation for somebody that's living off donations to conform to my standard in my head of how I think they should live. I think that's my own issue. But I think the reason I was able to like go so hard early on with the account is because I had my own issues with money and felt like this was wrong, or felt like this was these guys taking advantage of people's donations every single time. Now I'm more aware of the nuance and aware of all the kind of more micro situations that things could be a little different, about gifts and about side hustles and about all this kind of stuff. But at a macro level, I do think the church is still obsessed with money. It's a product of the people that are in our churches, and we're all obsessed with money and fame and image and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's worth continuing to lean into. But personally, like when you have an account like this, it forces, for me, I felt insecure about the things I spent my money on or how much we gave or how much we saved. And so it forced my wife and I to really audit everything. And it forced us to audit our personal socials. Like, hey, where the posts that we posted really trying to just flex on people and not trying to just like share a fun moment. So it forced us to audit really everything in our lives. And then, did you ask about faith too? My relationship to faith.
Yeah.
The being on the receiving end of angry Christians every day, every hour of the day did weigh on me a lot. Like it didn't leave a great taste in my mouth about people that seemingly believe the same thing as I do. And I know that I did a lot of this imperfectly, and social media is very messy, and I could have done a lot of different things better. But it also was a good practice in that it forced me to really dig into why I believe what I believe. And then also forced me to say, I don't know, to certain things that I felt expected to say, I know, to certain things. And there's been a few issues that come up with faith that I just have to say, I don't know about this, man. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how much is too much, or I don't know if it's okay to get rich off of just preaching. I don't completely know, but I think that it's not many people are trying to dig into it. And so for whatever reason, he's put me in the center of this. And so I'm trying to steward the opportunity as best I can.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind sharing, what, especially like in the Catholic Church, there's so much corruption that's coming to light, and there's all this corruption. What, maybe if you could speak, like, what for you personally keeps you following Jesus? Like what for like, I don't know if that's too personal, but like
getting some
I don't
testimony up in here.
Yeah, I would love.
I like that.
I would love to hear like I know that I really struggle with a lot of that, and there's a way I would describe like my relationship currently with Jesus, and like I'm just wondering, you especially, like, what keeps you, like when you have to go into your inner room and it's just you and him, like what keeps you there in the midst of all this?
Now that is a heady question. I think the short answer, probably like the shortest answer, I think, is creation, human design. Like we just had our first child last week. And that whole thing.
We love babies.
Really, thank you.
He has 5.
I love mine. I don't love all babies. Wow.
5. Yeah.
That's a lot. One is plenty for now. Going through that whole thing, seeing a tiny little human be birthed out of another human after 9 months of a pretty repeatable process. And like at least I have to be like, this is way bigger than I could ever comprehend. And so that mixed with some of the historical stuff about, like, all these different writings across all these different years, across all these different hundreds and thousands of miles, all having the same kind of central theme given the time, / like time being based off of Jesus's existence on earth. All those things objectively do enough for me. But also at the same time, especially now, going through the election stuff and then being very involved with this kind of deconstructing world too, there's plenty of things where I'm like, God, I really wish you would just outline some of this stuff for us, because you're leaving us to basically wing it. Like I talk about it a little bit in the book, shameless plug, but like the billions of people on earth that live on like less than $2 a day, while I get to sit in Richardson with DoorDash and air conditioning and a PlayStation, and God somehow equally loves us both in the small subset of America, while all these other billions of people suffer in a lot of ways. I don't know what to do with that. And I don't have an answer for it. And sometimes I have to be like, look, at least I get to follow a God that is not completely comprehensible, because if he was, that'd be a pretty small God. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess we're getting into it now. I like that.
I love it.
Ben, I want to be respectful of your time. Huge fan. We're going to be like huge supporters of you, like any way we can help.
Yeah.
We hope one day we get you here in person.
Yeah, we have a studio in Grapevine.
We're close.
Yeah. But I just wanted to give you an opportunity,
plug the book.
to plug the book. What's the book about? Why should people read it? Why should they go get it? Go to PreachersNSneakers.com to order the book.
Woo.
That's right. The book is just a deeper dive into the questions that came from the account. Instagram is only so good at getting into deeper discussions. So the book is not a self-help book. It's not going to give you all the answers, but it's going to help drive some questions hopefully drive some questions in yourself and maybe people around you. It's about, the church's relationship to fame and wealth and self-help and social media image, all that kind of stuff. Super chill topics all around. But I think so far, the response to the book has been really positive, and people have validated, like, look, these are things that I've thought about, and this has helped me frame some of these questions for me and my community, that kind of stuff. And so that's what I want. I mean, basically, I want people to read the book to take a step further in trying to be more authentic with themselves, with their faith, and with like representing Jesus to the outside world if you believe in Jesus. And if you don't believe in Jesus, at least be more authentic on socials about like you don't have everything figured out and your life isn't perfect, because at a minimum, like there's a whole piece on social media about how it causes anxiety and depression and everything, and everybody should care about not contributing to that and other people. So that's the book. It's very little about preachers physically wearing sneakers, but it was a good intro into some of the deeper stuff. So I would love it if people bought it. Yeah, you can buy it on PreachersNSneakers.com. It's where all the books are sold. There's a lot of books in the world, so I don't blame you if it gets lost in the sea of all the other books out there. But I would love it if you bought it.
We promise that all 11 of our listeners will buy your book.
At least 11.
You can count on 11 more copies to
count
be sold.
on that, baby.
Yep. If you don't buy his book, stop.
That's 9 more than I have for my podcast.
Yes.
Well, Ben, thanks so much for taking the time, man. Like, really appreciate you. Appreciate what you're doing, and I just hope to see more. Just more from you in the future. So thanks so much, Ben.
Yeah, and we'll be praying for you. Pray for us.
Yeah, praying for you, the little one.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much for having me. This is super fun. I love y'all's vibe and your Topo Chico stash. And once maybe everything tones down with the baby, would love to come kick it with y'all on Grapevine. It's just a
That'd be
Sounds
so fun.
great, man.
Please do.
Sounds great.
It'll be awesome.
All right, take care, Ben. That's been Ben from Preachers and Sneakers.
Woo!
See you guys.
We're back with the show.
Woo!
Kyle's in the closet again. He's back.
He's back in the closet
Kyle in
where
the
he
closet.
belongs.
And
Not cool.
Adrian's
You
here.
love it.
He's in the other room editing, working on stuff. That was a great interview with Ben.
It was really fun. I really liked him.
He's cool.
And he's
Super
local,
cool.
so we were talking. He has to come in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he just had a baby. He didn't. His wife just had a baby. Things are a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great interview. I liked his vibe. I liked his stuff.
totally.
Yeah, he said he liked our vibe.
Yeah.
Then we like your vibe.
Yeah. And I don't think he was kidding. I think he really likes us.
Yeah.
He likes us. He really likes us.
I relate a lot to the whole thing about, like, he just put it out, tried to play the middle ground with his commentary. Like, there was no real commentary, and then was like, yeah, you make what you want of this.
Yeah. Well, it's like what we said when we had Juke on the podcast. Like, everyone here is responsible for what they're saying, and to some extent we're responsible for the way that people interpret what we're saying, but like it also is totally not fair to assign intention to someone else. And that's what he had said, that, you know, people were like, well, you meant this when you started, and he's like, I did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or like he had issue with, like, I don't put anybody on blast. They put themselves on blast.
Right.
I just happen to take a screenshot and compare and be like, isn't this interesting?
Yeah.
Do with it what you will.
And it really is the new, I mean, it's the new normal now. The internet, it's so easy to look some of this stuff up. Like, I know there are Catholic people that have kind of been put on blast in terms of, like, you can look up their tax returns for public nonprofit organizations. And
can you look up my tax return?
no,
I don't think so.
But nonprofits.
You have to have a blue check mark.
So like you can look up nonprofit tax returns, like Word on Fire, Dynamic Catholic. Like it's not bad. It's not a bad thing.
Coming for you.
But it is interesting because I think that if it's a one-man shop, like if you know, okay, this nonprofit is run by only this guy, then you can pretty much figure out how much he makes. If it's a big place like Word on Fire, you can't really figure out. I mean, it'll probably have a line item that says salaries, and you can see collectively what everyone makes.
Yeah.
But it's not going to put like Jared Zimmerer, this is how much he makes, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys think Bummer and Lazarus will ever get big enough to where people will try to look us up and like?
And we
100%.
get blue check verified. Yes.
Really bold of you to assume we're not already big enough.
Well, we're not.
Kyle.
Well, we're not a nonprofit.
Right, we're not a nonprofit,
but we're not a nonprofit.
We are very much for profit. We are for the
We're
profit.
for so
love
much
profit.
profit.
We love for profit.
We're the Christians that Ben was talking about that are always seeking money. That's like us.
We just want to survive. So.
Hey, and if we ever get too big, we can pull a Dynamic Catholic and fire half our staff.
Oh yeah.
Shots fired.
I mean, at this organization,
be
we let
first
people
on the chopping
we let people
block.
fire themselves.
They get
We kind of let people like.
It's kind of
They
Yeah, they
don't fire themselves so much as like fade out.
They just say this isn't for me, maybe.
Which is fine, actually. Which is actually
It's
like,
better.
Totally fine.
I think it's better.
Yeah.
Hey, I chose hanging out with y'all over hanging out with my old company who fired me. They invited me to hang out tonight.
Jerks.
But
It was
they
like a-
fired you in a bad way too, right?
Well, maybe not in a bad way. It was like a booty call thing. Like they only wanted like the hangout parts, but not the work parts. Like just to see me at night. And I said no. I
You're
value
worth more
myself.
than
You
that.
are way
Way to go, Kyle.
But if we end early enough, I don't know where the night
I'm
will
proud
take
of
me.
you.
That's true.
Well, okay.
What other updates do we have about the show? I mean, I guess that's all we wanted to say about Ben's interview.
Yeah, I thought we had a great time.
It was very
I
good
hope he
interview.
enjoyed being on our show.
Yeah.
Yeah. When all this is over, he's gonna have to come in person.
Yeah.
Allie, do you ever think you'll get big enough that you will start getting hate from Christians, or do you already get hate from Christians because of your account?
That's a good question.
And how just like how cutting edge and kind of incendiary your doodling account is.
Your doodles are very controversial.
Yeah.
In real life, I've only gotten, and it wasn't a hate, it was just more of a question. I did a post about Mary, something about Mary, the mother of Jesus, and someone just came for me in my comments about
Wow.
Mary. But that's one person. I've had the account for 6 years.
Yeah.
One person.
Yeah.
And then when my dad and I did dance video, I think it was the first one with Bruno Mars. I got one person who was like, I can't believe as a Christian you're dancing to this song. But that was it.
But
literally.
then you just
No,
ignore
exactly.
it.
So
Yeah.
I've never gotten, I
Yeah.
mean, as much probably as Ben has got.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But he said in the podcast he's a people pleaser, and like he was
Yeah.
describing, I was like, I don't know how I would handle that because I'm totally a people pleaser. But also he was anonymous for 2 years.
Well, I mean, I try to just approach it as like there are parts of the internet where people are saying stuff that if I were to read it, I might get frustrated.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Because they're not understanding, like.
but the
that's
fact
not
that
what
it's
I
on
want.
your, I think once you get to a certain point, the fact that it's on your profile, like you just treat it like, yeah, this is like someone.
It's
I
some
believe.
comment box somewhere, and I could see it if I wanted, but I don't have to look
Yeah,
at
like
it.
like people. So I have a very mildly successful YouTube video. Like it's not very successful at all, but for me, it's bigger.
Is it the breakfast burrito one?
No, it's the
Because that was my favorite.
it's the Pocket Bible review one.
Oh.
And for some reason, it gets like a lot of troll comment type stuff. And you just like ignore it. Like
Yeah.
like the weird one the other day was this video was not inclusive enough to people with poor eyesight.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I was like, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for
Like-
the feedback.
Yeah.
I think, and you're probably the same way of just like when I see trolls or something like that, I don't get mad anymore. I'm just like, okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. It's like someone commented on your video with Jen Fulweiler, like commenting like this hateful stuff about her, and
Yeah.
you're like, ma'am, if you could chill, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
just calm
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Like it's just humorous of like you're probably maybe it's just because I've been in therapy enough where I'm like you're just
Yes.
very hurting right now,
This is
and I see
growth.
that.
This is growth.
Yeah, like I'm becoming healed and
You
whole.
are, you are.
Hurt people hurt people.
That's right.
And healed people heal people.
Yes. Healed
let us
people are
heal you.
doctors.
Do we have any updates for people? Like so the order of the episodes. So we had Juke episode came out, and then we will have your dad's episode come out, and then now Preachers and Sneakers.
Super exciting.
Fire.
Also by the
Should
time
we, Michael Hoffman.
What?
Should we tell everyone where we're going tomorrow?
Yes,
So
but by the time you listen to this, we've already gone there.
we will already have attended
Hopefully.
the launch party
Unless they don't let you
for
in.
Sarah Dietschy's studio that's
Yeah.
here in Grapevine that we got invited to.
Very excited. We're a big deal.
We're a big deal.
We're also a mile away.
It's 1 mile from here, and we're gonna go hit up the party tomorrow night. And
all-white
how are you feeling?
photo.
Are you excited?
I'm very nervous. I think like in my body, like in my downstairs area. There's a
like
lot
the
of
stomach.
Well, no, I just got Nutter Butters in my Flutter Butter.
Oh,
Yeah. And
I didn't know we could talk about your flutter butter on this show.
Well, I believe in theology of the body, which is reclaiming the dignity
You're just
of the
very
human
healed
person.
and whole
Yeah.
until you're ready to heal
And I
people
want to talk
through-
about all my
yeah.
parts that are whole and healed.
The flutter butter, especially.
So
I mean, we did talk about perineum sunbathing last time.
Did we
Yeah.
really?
Yep. With my
Yeah.
dad.
Wow.
With
my
Allie's
father.
dad.
Yep.
Did you guys have any after podcast conversations, like where you connected, or do you not talk to your father?
If you don't, we got to talk about this in therapy too.
Yeah, I say that for my therapist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I tell you guys someone came up in real life to me and told me to listen to the podcast? It was a shock.
And is this someone we know? Because that happened to Adrian at Redefined.
That happened to Adrian at Redefined.
Oh, I actually talked to the guy who told me he met Adrian at Redefined. It's one of Johnny's friends.
Who is that? Yeah, who?
It's like the co-youth minister there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, Kayla?
His name's Nathan if he's listening. No, not
wait.
Kayla. Different guy.
Okay.
But no,
Different
this guy, Chris Weir, another guy, Good Shepherd, came up to me and was like, hey, I listened to y'all's podcast a couple
my
times.
gosh.
And I was
Only
like,
a couple.
really?
It's happening.
What do you think? He said, Edmund's funny.
Okay, that's offensive.
Okay, he just said Edmund's funny.
Yeah, but
That was what he
listen.
said. He said, Edmund's pretty funny. And I was like,
Brittany.
yeah, he is.
Oh, also what
and
happened?
you say, and who else?
I said, thank you for listening.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, someone said one time that Brittany was the only funny person.
No, they said I was the funniest.
Well, they're lying, but
And that you should be the only host.
Oh, they did also say that
Yeah.
I should be the host.
No
Also-
one said
that.
me yet.
Also, my neighbor across the street, I kind of did a little high in the driveway, and he's like, hey, listening to your podcast.
Oh
And I was
my
like,
gosh,
I felt
that's so funny.
exposed. And he's like,
Your
pretty
nutter
funny.
butter was exposed.
Yeah, he was like, pretty funny.
Yeah, your nutter butter was feeling fluttery.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, what other? I want to go through our Instagram here. Kyle,
Do you wanna read the comment that someone left for us? The review.
where?
It's in the show notes.
Ooh, someone left a review.
Whoa. It was a message.
It was a message that we got. Yeah, there.
We have to delete old stuff.
I did already.
Did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
This
That's it.
Michael H.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh look.
you want me to pull up on the
This is
screen?
Yeah,
an-
sure,
this
sure,
is
sure.
an intense one.
Michael H. Thanks
Not
for
my
the
dad.
episode today. I found the conversation around positions of power, influence, and corruption to be really insightful, especially in connection to sexual abuse. Not sure when you recorded the episode, but as a fellow Franciscan U alum, it felt very timely given the latest scandal. I'm not sure there's much to say about it, but definitely shaken my spiritual life a bit. And I was just curious if you all were going to comment on it. Anyway, really enjoying your content. Can't wait to scoop the Vatican II collection.
Oh.
I think this
before our
Also,
giveaway.
Word on Fire is still sending me
Do we
books.
have any packages?
Well, yeah, I forgot it's at the house, but I got the Benedict Reader.
Ooh.
You didn't let us open it on
I
the
know, I'm
show.
sorry.
We're
I'm sorry.
influencers. Okay, but I think this kind of ties in with what we were talking about with Ben of
So
like
Can you give the update on, like, do you know what this is in reference to?
yes, so there was a priest where in like 2011 or when he was at Franciscan, it's come out now that he is charged with allegedly charged with these very serious
he was not
allegations.
allegedly charged. He was charged.
With
Well, yes, he was charged with allegedly. He was charged with allegedly
these
sexually
yeah
assaulting or
sexually assaulting a student at
who also
Franciscan.
had a mental disability.
Yeah, and he was like counseling her or something. He was
Disgusting.
And so that happened in like 2011, like early 2010s, and then
Were you there?
and then
that
he
time?
I think so. Yeah.
and then he left and he moved, and so now it's coming out with charges. So it's shaken a lot, and I think people are obviously very hurt.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it has it ties in well with the conversation we had with Ben, because we were talking about like just this idea of who are we following? Like, is it the messenger or is it the message? Like Jesus is the message itself, right? And so like when you have someone who you look up to spiritually, I mean, this has happened in so many religious orders. Like, what's the
Sisters of Life.
Nope.
CFRs.
Legionaries.
Nashville
Legionaries.
Dominicans.
Legionaries.
the
I'm
Legionaries.
up to date on my
Sorry.
scandals.
Yeah,
let me
the
tell you.
Legionaries.
Ooh, I
Like,
didn't know
it's
what's going on with
shaken.
them.
It's been for years.
You don't know
but,
about the Legion was the biggest thing ever. The founder of the Legion, Father
like had this like side wife.
yeah, he was a super
Yeah,
bad guy, and he
yeah.
wasn't like this guy at Franciscan. He was a priest. You know, he was an advisor. He was
Yeah.
a counselor. He wasn't the guy who started the school. It was a
Right.
much bigger deal.
Yeah,
than
this
the
was
Legion.
like the founder of the Legionary. So anyway,
like 15 years ago.
when
It was a
all
while
of this
ago.
stuff happens, like it can really shake you, but we have to have our like eye on the prize, which is like life with Jesus. Like, I mean, everything else is sand.
And I think it's okay to demand
100%.
like there's a couple people that are Franciscan alum that I followed, and they're like, we need Franciscan needs to come out with like some and then more than what they put out.
Yeah.
They're saying, so it was kind of like a very PC kind of answer, very like
and for them to
safe.
demand that like systems are put in place to make sure this cannot happen again is
yes,
so
and not just
necessary.
words.
Right.
Yeah.
Apologies only go so far if like
Right.
nothing changes.
And and I think like when stuff like that happens, like those people should be prosecuted prosecuted to the
Sure.
full extent of the law
Absolutely.
of like whatever they like. There's no,
Yes.
and I think it is also fair. It is perfectly normal, I think, to have. So, sorry, as like a counterpoint, like I think if that does rock your faith, I don't want to discredit that it can be challenging,
Right,
like
right.
that it can be very like. It can be really hard to hear someone you look up to and who has positively impacted the way you view Jesus and
Right.
the church, and then see this other side and have to wrestle with that hypocrisy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys know people who, after name any scandal, have left the church for whatever reason. Whatever reason that particular scandal was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, but I just feel like the church is made up of sinners, like, and it's not always going to go right. There's, you know, and that's not an excuse to say like it's okay, but we have to have realistic expectations that this is an institution run by sinful men, sinful people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Jesus is the ultimate like transition, like turner of bad things on their heads to bring good out of like he brings like fertility out of barrenness and you know what I mean, like
Yeah, I love
that's
fertility.
him, that's we know.
Well,
Nutter butters.
the thing with the
Flutter
Franciscan
butter.
I thought was interesting is that a couple years ago it came out this priest father Sam, who had been a friar there for a long time, had done a pretty similar thing, right? So they go in like the middle of the night and they remove his plaque from like the port, like the big chapel. Okay, probably the right thing, you know, remove the plaque. But what I thought was crazy was they don't really announce they're removing the plaque, one, and then it comes out they've known about it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, why was this plaque here for 10 years? And like we chose like the public, like you choose, you know, your public relations over honesty. Okay, fine. We've all done something like that. But like actively keeping the plaque that people would, in the place we would pray in the 24-hour adoration chapel,
Yeah.
was soft. I thought it was very weak.
I mean, I think it's like what with like preachers and sneakers, obviously that's like just talking about wealth and the gospel and can you profit off of the gospel, like preaching the gospel and stuff. And obviously this is like, you know, sexual scandals, but it's like bringing to light, I think, a lot of things of what people have always said that's like, okay, that's wrong and that's not good. And so now it's bringing to light and it's like we said, it's shaking so many people's faith.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with that?
Do you think that maybe we, like in general, tell too many stories of, yeah, this guy was a really, really bad sinner, then he met Jesus, then everything was okay? Like, do you think that's part of it, is that there aren't enough testimonies that are, like, there's a lot of testimonies, from my perspective, I heard a lot of testimonies of people that were like, I was dirty, rotten sinner, I woke up covered in cocaine and prostitute blood, and then I met Jesus, and then
their life's perfect.
but then like people will acknowledge, and I'm not perfect, but like I'm trying. Do you think maybe we don't tell enough of the constant revert,
like the struggle of a sinner,
like the then falling and coming back? And
I think it's too like the sensationalism. I know, like growing up in the Protestant world and hearing testimony and then be a missionary, and like I always thought that in order to be used by God or like to have a testimony, it had to be this crazy. I was this and now I'm that. Like I was covered in cocaine, and like my testimony is I've loved Jesus since I was like 5.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I've never
Praise
had
God.
this really crazy thing, and so most people think like I have to do this and not being like what to your point of like not being very open of I still struggle and I still
like
doubt and I
ongoing
still
sin.
yeah.
I do think there's something to be said for just this ongoing conversion, like you're talking about, like regular conversion. And I always encourage people that when I'm telling someone how to give a testimony, I always encourage someone to think about a testimony that's happened to them in the last week.
Yeah.
Because we should all have testimony. We should all have our testimonies, like the first time you met Jesus, or maybe the most impactful time you met Jesus, where you really dropped your nets. But we should also have the daily testimony. And if we're not talking about those little daily testimonies, then maybe it is easy to expect perfection from these people in positions of power where we have this perception that they're holy or holier than us, when really we're all just barely making it.
Yeah, it's like you never fall. Like, oh my gosh, what a standard I have to like reach to. I can never relate to that.
And also, people just go into way too much detail about these pre-conversion stories. Like, I remember Father Don Calloway's got this great book. You know, he's like on the beach, and he goes into great detail because it's necessary for the story of how he like followed the Grateful Dead on tour and has a tattoo. And I remember reading that as a kid and thinking like, man, these guys must be dope if anybody would follow them on tour. And like, I started listening to their music. I didn't start doing psychedelics, but like, that definitely influenced me in a really like real way. I started listening to them. He was right. They were dope. And I found that in talking with other Catholics, we can really quickly get into like a peeing contest of like who was the baddest before we got like pre-conversion stories. And I think it's so dumb.
Yeah.
That's like testimony training 101 too, is like, you know, there's before you met Jesus, what happened when you met Jesus, and then where you are after. And
but not
like,
to glorify the sin.
Not to glorify.
Yeah.
Like I remember.
Not to be like, it was so much fun doing all that coaching.
And to give Calloway some credit, I was in 3rd grade when I read his book, so I'm sure he like did do that. I just didn't.
That was at least 5th grade level reading.
My mom put it in my Easter basket. She was like, read this, kid. And I was like, all right.
People have been dying to know about the window in the studio. It's still broken.
Still broken.
We got a quote, and they're coming to fix it. Also, it broke just in time for us to have like a storm,
tornadoes
every day.
Yeah, just in time.
We've had some really intense storms these last few weeks.
Yeah.
Then any other life updates that we could give our dear listeners who really care about your life, Allie and Brittany?
Nope, still single.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think even more single than before.
I do have an update. I joined Hinge.
Oh, wow.
Don't do it.
Just
quit now.
Because my
Free
roommates. Because my room. No, I haven't got. I'm so scared. I don't know why. I'm just terrified.
Okay, I've
to
been
use
on
the app how it's supposed to be used.
I've been on some Hinge dates.
Okay.
And gosh, it's just it's I don't know.
I'm like
I hope you have
terrified
good
to
luck.
like something. So I'm like, well, I don't want to talk to that. Like, I don't know why. I'm just.
You'll get over that pretty quick.
I'm just single.
I like if I see something interesting on someone's profile, like I'll ask them questions about it, and most of the time it's like just the conversations. Oh gosh, they've been so boring. Maybe I'm boring. Maybe I'm a boring conversationalist.
You're very boring.
But it's like these
like
guys.
let's have a conversation. Like
Okay.
we're dating. Okay.
Like we're dating.
We go out to dinner. We go out to dinner.
Is this a first date? You gotta
First
establish
date.
I feel like
No,
you need some background music.
Okay. No,
but
first
if
date.
it was realistic, if we
This
met
is
on
realistic.
Hinge,
We met on Hinge.
okay, then before you even ask me almost anything about myself, you're probably gonna ask for pictures of me in a swimsuit or
Why?
something ridiculous.
No, I
like,
wouldn't.
'Cause
no,
that's-
literally,
Why are you thinking
that's
that?
what's there.
No, I know, but let's say I
you're
I didn't do
different.
that.
Okay, all right. You made it fast. You made it past the
Let's
first
say the worst thing I did
step.
was like
Ask you your
at
Chipotle
some
order.
point. No, let's say the worst thing I did was like at some point 11 o'clock at night I text or I DM you up,
You up?
but you ignore it.
Yep.
So that's the
Like a
only
lady.
that's the only
Yep.
thing we have. That's the only thing we have.
Okay.
Other than that, everything's been going fine.
It's only one strike.
Yeah, you're a financial planner.
I am.
I work at
Google.
a tech startup
Okay.
in Dallas. What?
I don't know.
Google's not in Dallas. And then we go out on the first date.
Okay.
So let's do the conversation.
Okay.
So we sit down. Okay, cool.
Where are you? What kind of
We're at Tolbert's
That's great.
on Main Street.
Isn't that chilly?
I'm like, oh, you're in Grapevine. Like, I've always wanted to go to Tolbert's.
Okay.
Can we go there?
That's chilly.
Okay.
There's lots of people. There's
Yeah.
live music.
Okay.
Hey, it's nice to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, great to meet you too. This is so awkward for the
You're a
podcast.
lot shorter in person.
Yeah, you're a lot shorter than I thought you'd be.
You're way uglier than I thought.
Wait, come on. You
Okay.
gotta.
All right, I'm sorry.
We really need
gotta
to
woo me.
We need to hear your conversation. Like, what do you when you're on a date? Like, we can rate.
There's
We can rate.
There's a few topics I like to touch on.
Okay, is this how you're opening the conversation?
No.
You say this?
No.
It's a
hi.
choose your
I
own
have an agenda.
adventure.
I have an agenda.
Thanks
for
for coming to this
conversation.
dinner. There's a few topics I enjoy talking
Yeah, it's
to
a choose
first
your own
dates.
adventure.
Yeah. No, but I do like to bring up travel.
No, let's just do
Okay.
it.
It's just so awkward. Okay.
Why?
Because you're married with
Because-
5 kids.
Why is
I
that
don't want to
awkward?
date you.
No, but be a normal conversationalist. Be like have a
Well,
platonic.
I'm awkward.
You don't know that you want to get down with me. Just like have a normal.
I know I don't want to get down with you.
I know. So just have a normal, as if you were conversationing like.
This
First date,
chili is
how
really
do you-
nice.
Wow, cool. So do you come to? See, you're making me lead the conversation
Well,
already.
that's the point. I want you to lead the conversation.
Well, that's your problem. You're not a great conversationalist.
No.
If you want the other person to lead the conversation.
You're the man. You're supposed to take charge.
No. Feminism has
don't you
come.
agree?
Do you want to date me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, do you agree though that like you?
No.
I mean, it just depends too on person.
Okay, no, I'll stay. I'll
Okay.
stay
It's
on
much
my
more
David
organic than this.
All right. Okay, so we sit down.
Yeah.
We just ordered.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
So tell me how you got into working for this tech startup.
Well,
Bringing up work first
Gosh.
question.
I know
lame.
work is bad, but it's
So-
an easy segue.
so I got into tech because I'm sorry, I'm just so nervous.
Yeah, it's because I'm hot, right?
Oh,
You've probably never been on a date with a girl this hot, huh?
you're so bad at acting, Brittany. Like you
no, I would
guys,
say that.
I know, but you've broken character already like 5 times.
Okay. Well, I'm not acting.
about
This
to
is real
poop your
life.
pants.
Okay, Allie, let's see how you are in a
Okay, y'all
conversation.
go on a
Okay.
date.
First date.
Okay.
Okay, we sit down.
Hi, it's so great to finally meet you.
Not working already.
Dang
It's already
it.
not working. Okay, let's go.
It's so great to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, it's really great to meet you. I've been really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
She's worse than me.
I mean, at least she got past the first intro.
So, how's your work?
She asked about work too.
What does your profile say? Just from work? Okay.
Oh,
Or you
yeah.
said,
Context. That's good.
That's a good one.
I need to
That's
know
good.
like what
It said maybe on drugs.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't go on a date with you.
Have you gone, so you said this is the first time you've been to this restaurant before?
Yeah, it's the first time I've been to this restaurant.
Yeah, Main Street is pretty cute. I've been to a couple other ones down here, but this
Yeah,
is
me
my
too.
first time at this one. What else have you been? Do you live around here?
Sorry, no, I haven't been here before.
Oh, okay. I mean, I've only been here a couple times.
Me too.
Wait, I thought you said you'd never been here.
I'm sorry, I'm just so nervous. I'm nervous.
Why are you so
about-
nervous?
I don't know. It's just I haven't been on a first date in 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Have you? Oh, that's big. Do you want a drink or something?
Yeah, please.
Just vodka?
Sure. Yeah, I love vodka.
Yeah.
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 I've never had vodka before.
Oh, but you love it?
Oh, so much. I'm so nervous. I'm sorry.
Why are you nervous? It's okay.
I don't know. I've just never
Just
been
shake
on
it
a.
out.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You haven't been in first date in 10 years.
Okay.
That's
Can
a
I be
long
honest
time.
with you about
Please.
dating?
Yeah.
This is awkward, but
Okay.
I've never been out on a date with someone that I've met on Hinge before.
Me neither. First time. Isn't it awkward?
Yeah, super awkward.
Like, what
to
are
be
your...
honest,
Uh-huh.
you're a lot shorter than I thought you'd be.
That's okay.
Well,
yeah.
it's not.
You like tall girls?
Oh.
So it's weird because like
Well,
we're on
can't
this date
grow
now,
Okay,
anymore.
what if there's a button right here that you can press to just eject yourself from the date?
but there isn't.
You eject yourself.
So
not
how do
the
you handle
date.
this, Allie?
You say,
You gotta
oh,
turn
well,
it around.
well, I think that I am 5'5". I
You
know.
think that you're 5'5".
No, I'm 5'5", which is actually the average woman's height. So I'm average size.
Great.
So would you want
could just
shorter
say,
or taller?
I'm still growing.
Yeah, I'm still growing.
My mom told me not to settle for average, so
Okay. Well, then I'm going to leave you and have fun.
Yeah.
look how good she is at
Slowly.
this.
She's
And scene. That was great.
she's leaving the date.
What's so hard about that?
She was
Fun eating
to
chili
you.
and
Well,
shitting your
great.
pants.
And then you just leave. Brittany, what's hard about that? Great. And now let's leave.
Good for you. Haven't been on a date in 10
But
years.
here's the thing: I normally do this in the message, like before we even get to the first.
That's your
date,
problem.
I'm like,
That's your problem.
Well,
You kind of want to know a little bit more about
Yeah.
the person
You gotta-
before, if this person is interesting.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Then let's do it again, Brittany.
no,
Okay.
this is not
All right.
fun.
So anyway, Hinge is okay. So on Hinge,
Have you been talking to anyone on there?
just one guy, but yeah, that's how I feel.
Here's how I would lead
Do
the
you
date.
think you're the
Let's
only
do-
guy he's talking to?
Probably
No.
not.
No.
I'm not a guy, Kyle.
That's
I'm a
why I was
girl.
asking what you thought. Because if you said yes, I was gonna have to break the news on the podcast.
Sure.
Kyle.
Here's how I would open the first date.
Okay.
Someone on Hinge.
This
Okay.
is gonna be real successful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm successful at this. I'm really good at this.
How many Hinge dates have you been
None.
on?
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Thanks for
Tell
asking
me
out.
about your life. All of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but can I say something really quick? This is not on the date. I
Okay.
went on a first date with a guy, and I asked him, and I don't think he watches this. I asked him about his life. He did some religious order stuff previously. So I asked him, I was like, how did you get into that? Like, that's crazy. And then he went through his entire life, like
Okay.
testimony, everything. And then he just sat there and didn't ask anything
See,
to me, didn't say anything. I was like,
That's self-awareness.
No, that's
didn't have
the
self-awareness.
problem. That's the problem I really feel like in these conversations is that it'll be like these guys are messaging me, and then I'm the one that has to keep the conversation going. So
why do you feel like you have to keep the conversation going?
Well, because I'm trying not to just write them off after like the first like 5 messages.
But just don't keep the conversation going. But
see, okay, so here's what happened like last week. This guy had messaged me and we were talking about, you find stuff in their profile and you're like, oh, da-da-da. And he was telling me like, oh yeah, I'm finishing my bachelor's degree in 2 semesters. And I was like, it's fine, you're 34. That's okay. I'm not here to judge.
This is the problem. Here's the problem.
I said, I'm not here to judge. I'm going to keep messaging this guy.
Okay.
So then I was like, oh, what do you hope to do after, whatever. And so he tells me, and it's like maybe 2 or 3 lines of like his, what he's hoping to do.
Yeah.
But then nothing to further the conversation. Yeah. So it's like, I ask a question, he responds, then I pick something out of what he said and I ask another question.
And that's exhausting.
Or give like a anecdote, like, oh yeah, that, my experience of blah, blah, blah.
I think what's happening though is like, they're trying to play a little hard to get and mysterious, like, and you're just filling it in with what you're filling it in with too much.
Maybe.
I think that's what's going on.
But what keeps happening though is like, and this happens in multiple. I just think these people don't know how to keep conversations going because, like, it could be me. It's possible.
I'm a dating coach, so I'm gonna say it's you.
But it's like several times where I feel like I'm asking a question, you're responding, but you're not asking anything about me.
Yeah.
You're
That's
not
fine.
furthering the conversation at all.
He doesn't want to be seen as needy.
But also, you discipled people, and like.
You're very self-aware.
Like you're able to have a good conversation.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
And ask people like about their lives and like that's what you
most
did.
People are not that self-aware. Like most people are just like.
Yeah.
Or they don't know like, I think with this guy, he was so nervous. Like you could just tell he was super nervous. So I was like, okay, so I want a second date, but no, it just ended up.
Yeah.
Well, this has been another episode of Dating
Hinge.
with the
on Hinge too. I didn't realize my roommates had to tell me that there is a certain set of guys that they hold off that you can send roses to. It's like your own form of the Bachelorette, but you only get 1 free rose a week. So you can. It's like a special thing. You didn't know about this?
I mean, I've seen it, but I've never clicked on it.
But the guys that are in there are like I feel like they're a cut above the rest. So I was like, are you holding on to me? So you only get 1, and you can only send 1 rose. Well, it depends on your likes.
Okay.
On like what your preferences are, and then if you want to buy more roses, it's like $3.99 to send a rose, and then who knows
Allie,
what happens with it.
But what is the value of a lifetime?
That is a good point.
What if they see my profile?
$3.99.
Should I show you my profile?
Compared to
show us.
No. This is enough of this. $3.99, Allie, compared to the value of a spouse for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but what if he doesn't respond?
What's the price you'll put on a spouse that you marry and are married to for the rest of your life?
That's my profile picture.
Okay.
That's cute.
It's cute.
It's super
What's
cute.
the worst, lamest reason
Yeah.
you've ever rejected someone or been rejected? Like you've been on a date. I feel like it's a much funnier conversation.
Kyle, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't go on a lot of dates,
let's
and I
not
haven't
talk
really
about-
dated in my life.
Let's not talk about our rejection wounds up in here.
Suck at
Well,
dating.
one time a girl stopped talking to me because I had the wrong answer to who my favorite member of a band was.
What was your
That's
answer?
fine though. That's fine.
No, it was good because I don't want to be with anybody who doesn't
Yeah.
think Amir was necessary to the band.
Yeah.
In her defense, it was a band, and one of the members left, and the music started stinking after that. But he definitely like robbed the other members.
That's
at
a
some
pretty
point.
funny reason though to like stop talking to someone.
Yeah, I was thinking you guys would have some funny things too. That was the point instead of
mostly-
whining about being single.
No, it's not that. It's just Kyle. I don't go on a lot of dates. Guys are not asking me out on.
But have you
dates.
ever rejected someone for something dumb?
No, I rejected someone because it was impossible to have a conversation with him.
Oh, well, that's
He
just
was
sad.
a dud.
Now I was trying to make it happen. I'm really swinging and missing.
I'm really happy and content with where I am.
I normally
It's fine.
ghost or get ghosted. And
But
I'm
have you
fine with that.
ghosted for something funny?
No, I don't. Well, I don't know because they don't tell you why they're ghosting you.
No, but
They
have
just do
you
it.
ghosted someone else for something funny?
No, I don't think so.
It's just
Wow, you guys are
boring.
too rational.
Yeah.
This is lame.
Yeah.
This is so lame.
Yeah.
dating in your 30s.
I think I would definitely ghost people if I had to like date right
It's
now. I would
almost
ghost
like
people.
you know what it's kind of like is we were joking about how people don't get fired from the studio; they fire themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like you're firing yourself from being in a relationship with that person.
That's
I'm
really accurate.
My mom's advice was always date a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Even in middle school, like anytime the dating conversation got brought up, my mom was like, "Yeah, go out on a date. Like, just go out on a date. Go out on a date with everybody. I was like, Mom, I'm not a flooze. Come on.
I'm not blue.
When you go ghost, Brittany, do you taper off or do you just boom? Because I've always believed in tapering.
I taper for sure.
You just start slowing down.
Yeah. I was kind of in the middle of ghosting this one guy, and he totally called me out, and he was like, "Hey, I'm really enjoying our we had like talked on the phone. We hadn't met in person, but we had talked on the phone a few times, and he was like, I'm really enjoying our conversations," but he could tell that I was like tapering, and he was like, "But if you don't feel the same way," and I was like, "Yeah, actually, I don't."
That's a nice mature thing for both sides.
Very mature
It was
thing.
really
That's a great
mature.
story.
It was really mature of him to do. It was not so mature of me, but I was younger then. I was like,
Look
I
at
was
you
younger.
now.
I'm older now.
Pre-COVID, it's a different time.
Yeah,
different
exactly.
time.
Exactly.
So anyway, that's our dating.
Also, I didn't like his first
Saga.
name, so I kept calling him something different to
See,
my friends.
that is the real reason. That was the answer to the question. I said, "What's the dumbest reason you've ever done it?" They're there. I know they're there.
It took a while. We had to get there. We got there.
One time I was talking to this girl and she was from like a big Catholic family where all the girls were named Mary, right?
Okay.
And they went by their middle name.
Yeah.
Kind of weird, but like whatever. And her middle name was Gwendolyn,
Okay.
but she went by Gwenny. And I just remember thinking, like, you've got, like, I could never say, Mom, Daddy, here's my girlfriend, Gwenny.
Gwenny.
I
Yeah,
just
I
couldn't
can't.
do that, especially when you have a perfectly fine first name of Mary. But then I found out all of her siblings had the name Mary,
right.
but I didn't know that at the time.
Gwen.
Yeah. This guy's name was Ira. And I kept calling him Ezra to my friends. So my friends would be like, "How's Ezra?" And I'd be like, "Oh, you know, whatever." And then like I would remember his name's Ira. Well, the problem is, if you know anything about finance, you know that there's such a thing as an IRA, which a lot of people call IRAs. And so it's just like this weird, like, I don't think the name is kind of
No,
blah,
that's very
but,
particular.
you know,
Yeah.
What about last names, like being women, right? Have you ever seen a last name where you're like, yo, I cannot do that? Because you've got an A last name, too.
Yeah.
You'd have to go to the bottom of the alphabet,
I
possibly.
don't mind that so much as like bad last names. We were talking about one not that long ago.
Which one?
I can't tell you.
You can't
'cause-
say it because it's the last name.
yeah. you can't say it.
Yeah. But there's some bad ones out there.
I used to work in a pea factory, and have I told this story already?
No, I thought this was a joke.
And then
Pee is in urine?
yeah, and
What?
like
Is this a bit?
no,
Speaking of our fan art, we gotta
Yeah.
show that.
was that Jen that made that?
Yeah.
Jen made like a fan art. I don't know how we pulled up, but I
It's
worked
in the
in
Slack, Mike.
I worked in a toxicology lab, and I had to pour urine samples from the cup into the little test tubes, and then like you would
Is this
print.
at Georgia Tech?
No, this was over the summer at USF.
Okay.
My aunt
right.
was working in a toxicology
That's
lab,
wild.
and basically
P lab.
people that were on certain types of painkillers or stuff, I guess with their insurance, long-term drug use or whatever, they had to take a pee test to make sure that they were, I guess for
Taking-
insurance reasons, that they were taking it and not
Selling it.
and not selling it or something. So there would be this cup, and then you'd print a label, put the label on this cup, put a label on the test tube, and then
Yeah.
pour the urine in. Let me tell you, pee comes in all different shapes and sizes, colors,
What made you think to tell this
cloudiness.
story?
Because I saw
Cloudiness?
cloudiness, color, thickness.
What was the weirdest color you saw?
Some pee can be very viscous and thick, kind of syrupy, and then some pee. Yeah.
What was the weirdest color? Because I heard that it can be
green.
purple.
Green tasted the worst, but
That was bad.
so every time I worked there, I worked for like 3 or 4 hours a day or something. I don't know, it'd be like weird shifts, but I saw maybe 200 names because I would print the name and put it on the tube. And I saw the weirdest, weirdest names. And then what would get really weird, where it's like God does exist, would be like
I know this person.
And their pee
That would have been weird.
their
those I would
pee
drink.
Tastes great.
Viscous.
So what would be really weird was when the last names would line up. Like what I mean is like there would be like a Jessica Barefoot and then like a Kevin Shoemaker.
Oh,
And I'm
that's
like-
weird.
You could have been a matchmaker at the Pea Factory.
Like you guys, and you know what I would do when I would find those like that?
Put them together.
Kind of mix their pee a little.
It's so devious.
Well, because I
mixed it
feel
pea a
like
little.
if you mix
pee with someone, you're destined.
You're
to be
married.
together
Well, I think
forever.
there's something about the urine that when it's mixed together,
Have you and Danielle mixed
Super
pee?
urine?
That's a very personal question.
You don't want to talk about it on the podcast?
Well, no, I mean, think about it. Like, you pee in a toilet, someone else pees in the
taking
toilet.
a
like,
turn.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
it's not that weird, I guess.
Yeah.
Children pee in the toilet.
In fact, we probably, I mean, in this toilet.
Oh yeah,
right
you've
here.
mixed urine with so many people.
Yeah.
It's honestly a little like it's probably a theology of the body issue that we should bring up more.
Yeah.
That should be the next chapter in Christopher
Do you
West's
guys?
new book.
So if you see a dirty toilet, do you flush it before you pee into it?
If it's
With
at
your
my
foot?
if it's at my house, wait, dirty on the outside or pee in
No,
it?
pee. Like, do you pee into it?
If
oh
it's,
no, I flush it.
if it's at my house, I don't flush it.
If there's logs, I try to hit the logs.
Okay, if there's more than urine in it, I do flush it. I just don't want to waste water. And if there's pee in it and you're just gonna pee in it, what
Ben is never gonna share this
I know,
episode.
It's a great episode. We're gonna clip out that part.
So many
we
different
should.
things.
Well, we're gonna wrap up this episode. Thank you guys so much. I think this was really good. The interview with Ben was great.
Yeah, I
Hopefully, we
think
get
so.
him in the studio soon.
Yeah,
I think he definitely.
I bet
vibes.
he would want to take a headshot on our plant wall. Have you noticed how many people are posting plant wall headshots?
Yeah, it's
We
kind of
started
weird.
it.
We started a trend.
We definitely started it. In fact, Edmund and I put
Invented
together
plant wall.
2
Yeah.
plant walls.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah,
We
it
did.
was our fingers were just destroyed.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to the show. We give us go to YouTube and subscribe if you're not. We had someone reach out to us and say that when they started watching the show, it adds a whole new dimension.
Yeah, I do
And
think it's better on YouTube.
Most episodes there's a lot of glances and visual elements that we throw in there. So
Visual elements.
that's really great.
Because it's
Yeah.
produced so
Like our
well.
face.
It's produced very well,
The inner
Kyle.
workings of
Kyle,
the
it's great
crew.
to have you back.
We missed you,
Thanks so much,
Kyle.
man. We missed
You
you.
guys are too kind.
Yeah, we are. Honestly, we are a little too kind. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
all right, Kyle.
You're doing okay.
Wait, they're tapering. They're ghosting.
You're not getting fired. You're firing yourself, and that's a command.
Make it a new twist.
That's
I'm gonna
gaslighting.
fire
That's
myself.
gaslighting. You're not gonna gaslight me. I'm a male. I'm the gaslighter.
The big thing though is that you should go to drinkstudiocoffee.com
Yes.
and get some of this great old coffee.
Yep.
Have some studio time
Yeah.
at your places times.
Yeah.
Have some studio time in your places.
I've seen people doing coffee flights, so I think we should. If you buy 4 bags of studio coffee, then you can make it in 4 different ways.
The other thing you should research is coffee enemas are really good for you.
right up the butt, huh?
Yeah, where you take a tube and you funnel it in.
If you use studio coffee to do a studio
Coffee enema.
a studio coffee enema.
Or no, it's not an
please tell
enema, it's a
us.
colon cleanse.
Please
a
record
coffee
it
colon cleanse.
and
Okay, that's
post
very
it on our channel.
Yeah, that's way different.
Very different. And
Wait, what's a
colon cleanse?
Wait, what's the same? It's the same.
No, an
An
enema
I
goes
don't think
up.
so.
A colon cleanse goes through the mouth.
It's like people
No,
with
no.
stick alcohol up
No,
there
no,
so
no.
it doesn't go through your liver. It gets you
No.
drunk faster.
Colon cleanse you can do where you go in
The butt.
through the out.
in through the
Yeah.
Through the exit.
Yeah, there's a guy there was like one of these health dudes on Instagram that I followed, and he said that every morning he does that.
A coffee? What
What?
waste of
He
coffee?
gets a funnel and he
No,
pours.
the membrane's thin and it gets the caffeine to your bloodstream.
But it
automatic.
also had other health benefits, not just like it had health benefits. He
Ben
thought.
is never sharing this episode.
Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening to the show. We will see you next week.
Woo!
Bye.
You're gonna die.
Finger guns. Ding, ding.
Hey!
Hey!
Minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery.
You're gonna die.
I'm Raymond Arroyo. We'll see you next time.